Be behind him on Sunday? Did you say?
Well, I think
Really?
they'll have some.
They want it
some
close.
Yeah,
They want a 4 or 5 setter.
they don't want to see what happened at the Rogers Cup in Canada, where it was just a complete beat down.
No, they don't want to see that. Have you seen a turnaround, though, between a player and the very tough New York crowds? Because sometimes you turn them against you, you might never get them back. I mean, Djokovic turned them against him early in his career. Remember that time?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they've ever fully embraced him here.
But New Yorkers also respect people that would stand up and go, yeah, thank you. I got energy from you guys.
Not to mention giving the kind of effort he's been giving.
When you go to bed tonight, no, you give me the win. It's a genius bad guy wrestler line.
I think absolutely.
Well, Medvedev managed himself so well, his body, the last couple of matches where he was struggling a bit at times against Wawrinka. And he's happy to get through his match in straight sets, have a little extra time to rest. And I do not think you'll see him 15 feet behind the baseline on every return of serve, as we did in Canada. It's good.
You will see him that far back in the first serve.
Yes.
As we presume we'll see Rafa if he gets one more set.
Oh, wow. Still hammering the forehand.
Lot to admire about the way he's battled and strong resistance he's shown. You look at the comparison of how hard he's had to work, Berrettini, to hold compared to Nadal. Rafa's played 62 points total in all his service games. 97 for Berrettini. That's a big spread.
There's not a lot of people that get that return back. Your discrepancy there is all that needs to be said about how hard it's been for him and how well he has battled just to keep it remotely close. He had 2 set points. That first set was the one he had to win.
Still fighting, still fist pumping. Beautiful backhand.
And he's had a really good game plan. I mean, he's looked to take that backhand up the line when he's had the chance. He's used a drop shot successfully early. Come in more than I expected him to come in, 21 times.
That's not the go-to play there.
No, that I didn't expect, and that's why.
Credit to Rafa, though. Excellent return. That was not a pancakes. It was 123 at some slice. That's where that toss comes into play. He doesn't get it as wide away from the Nadal backhand as he could.
Fought off the first bullet. Couldn't quite control the second.
Surprising Nadal went back at him. The court was wide open. He's had enough of the drop shot, apparently.
Break point. yet again. Yep. And Rafa in total control now. Up the quick break in the third. 12 service games. You've seen how big the guy can serve. Nadal has created break points in 7 of those games. After we're done, stick around for Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. David Pollock, who? Former colleague in the game, joins the show with his Big 12 SEC and ACC expectations. Bill Barnum's NFL predictions. And we get the post-match reactions from Rafa and look ahead to the championship.
It's going to be an early night for Scott.
It will be.
Usually he's on at midnight, after midnight. Yeah. Big sports weekend with college football and first weekend in the NFL. U.S. Open Finals.
I've seen more scintillating NFL openers than the Bears-Packers last night.
Okay. Wasn't
Unless you like defense.
Kept one eye on it, mostly watching the tennis.
Of course.
Well, Rafa just rolling toward the finish line now. No breaks in the opening set. The 2 set points saved. Break midway, second set, and now to begin the third. Pushed it long.
Nadal's just getting everything.
It's a heck of a get by Nadal.
By the way, David Pollock is watching. He's a huge tennis fan. And Rafa is his guy, so I knew.
You knew he'd be checking it in. Okay.
Yeah. He loves the beast mode that Rafa kind of shifts into. And so many fans do.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Peace. If Nadal were a football player, Chris, what position would he play?
We've talked about that because he'd be, I think, a heck of a running back, but he could also be a great safety.
Okay.
You know, run down, and I'm not sure if he likes contact. At least built for it.
Yeah, but it tells me he'd be okay with that. But middle linebacker. I mean, I know attitude a little small, but
tough
mentality-wise.
Yeah. I'd say safety, like a ball hawking safety.
Okay.
Run support, but also play center field. He's more of a defender at heart, would you say? At least early in his career.
Yeah.
So. You know it's blowout material when we're projecting football field.
Yeah. 2 sets and about to be 2 love.
He was a heck of a soccer player, as most of you know, early in his career. Just a little bit better at tennis. Remains a huge fan of Real Madrid. Mateo just stayed in that corner. And resistance seems to be futile at this point. 10 straight Nadal service points.
So they have a 2, 3, 4-minute changeover at the end of the set. They play one game. They go sit over there. The whole routine, go through this whole thing. That's one, another 4 minutes. Then we get the new racket, and we got to, go through this routine with the towels. It's like, let's play.
Berrettini's going to switch rackets.
But that's what happens now in tennis.
Let's see if the serve clock starts. Still hasn't started.
Yeah. I mean, it's why haven't?
Well, I mean, it is a ball change, so Most guys.
Do they have to change rackets if it's an
Medvedev doesn't do that, I guess. Right? He's
how about you can only do it on the change?
Well, they could do it, but they just had to do it in the allotted time. What's wrong with that? They still didn't start the serve clock. Now it starts on the second serve, so that I don't get.
Beautiful. You guys talked about your feelings he will improve. What is Matteo Berrettini's upside in his career?
Top 5. That would be conceivable if he could continue to improve.
I actually think he's hit his backhand better tonight than I expected he would. So that's what's kept it close for a couple of sets.
You concur, Patrick, that he's a
I do.
top 5 player?
Ability to step inside the court a little more often with the backhand.
Return better, adjust that toss a little bit. Get better at net.
Of course, to have a top 5 ranking, you got to be really consistent. You can't have a run at a tournament then go away, and that is one thing he hasn't yet put together. Remember, he's was out and playing a challenger in Phoenix after Indian Wells. Here's a comfortable hold for once. What a concept. Nadal still in charge. 2 sets and the break.
Nadal leads 2 games to 1%.
So that early retirement we planned, it's going okay?
Great. Now I'm spending more time with the kids. I'm introducing them to crab.
Crab?
They love it.
So you mentioned that money we set aside.
Yeah, the kids and I want to build our own crab shack.
Ah, you're finally building an outdoor kitchen.
Yep, with room for the whole gang.
See how investing with a JP Morgan advisor can help you. Visit your local Chase branch.
Indoor tennis today. Nice conditions expected for the weekend. Nadal just about done with the job today. Within 4 games of the U.S. Open final, he'll try to chase down his 19th major and his 4th here in New York. So you have Serena trying to get even with Margaret Court at 24. And if she needs further confirmation about being the greatest major tennis resume ever, and Nadal trying to get within 1 of Federer and fire up all those endless GOAT conversations that fans love to have. Rafa's always said, let's wait and see. Don't talk now. When everybody's done.
We like to have him too.
When everybody's done, including Novak, we'll have
a lot of real estate now as Berrettini doesn't have the legs explode out of the corners quite as quickly. That's when that down the line becomes even more open and available.
The will as well. That's sapped from you as you deal with the onslaught of the Nadal game. Full team race. Only 4, but considering he's serving at about 50%, never threatened, has not had a single break point.
Yeah, he's won 13 service points in a row at the moment.
Jinx.
Got it right on the line.
You see Berrettini's reaction after the point?
Yeah.
He kind of just staggered a little bit. So you got to be kidding. 3-1.
That leads 3 games to 1.
Rafa, as you guys pointed out, can serve better. Essential that he do so on Sunday?
I don't think so.
Or was this serving performance?
I think
also
tonight
good
is adequate. I mean, obviously, as John's been pointing out, he'd like to get the percentage up, but Medvedev that far back doesn't present a problem.
He's going to step
on the first serve
on the second.
On the second, but on the first serve.
But if he serves 50%, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Of course, a massive difference in that opponent, how he moves. 165, 166, but Medvedev, who's all elbows and knees, but just doesn't look like he's a graceful mover, but boy, does he cover court. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, that's true. He's one of the best that I've seen at that height ever.
First service.
Maybe the best.
Left. First service.
This is good. It could have been the score had he been 100%, fresh. I think for 2 hours he kept really positive. Patrick had pointed that out a couple occasions, but now he's resigned. And it's too bad that you leave in a way, you end up with that sour taste in your mouth a bit. Same as it happened for Dimitrov earlier. He went away in the third.
Now, what a shot from Rafa.
And now 40.
Exclamation point coming. For the second break here.
That's when you know you're in trouble, when the total return is totally mishit and it goes in.
He has battled. One wonders if off of the heels of that 5-setter. Had Monfils found a way through, would he have been able to even put up this much resistance against Nadal today? Didn't post up Canada. It was a walkover in the semis.
Slips. First time the drop shots worked in a while.
Well, let's see what happens here, because he had an absolute gimme forehand to go up 4-1. Berrettini just hanging by a thread.
Vincenzo Santapadre has done a terrific job. This player
been with him a long time.
No mistake for Nadal this time. Double break lead.
Nadal leads 4 games to 1.
Problems. Nobody likes problems. But why is that? At IBM, problems actually inspire us to fix things, to change things, to push the world forward. Which is why so many people who dare to take on problems work with IBM.
Got it.
No one's journey begins with a trophy. Sure, there are advantages in natural talents, but they won't teach patience or discipline, or get you back on the court after a heartbreaker. Let this game be your spark. Pursue your passions with relentless ferocity, because the only way to get that trophy is to take it. Tennis teaches kids to dream, compete, and succeed. Sign up with Net Generation.
ESPN's coverage of the 2019 U.S. Open is brought to you by American Express, proud partner of the U.S. Open. Don't do business without it. Don't live life without it.
Nadal says he loves New York City, embraces the challenge and the energy of playing in Arthur Ashe Stadium. And we'll see him back here on Sunday. Just has to administer the last rites. Double break lead in the third now. Some of the crowd left. Foregone conclusion the result, but it's a testament to the charisma of Nadal. I think how many people have stayed from the expensive seats to all the way to the rafters for this match.
Not often you get a chance to see a master at work doing his thing. Still at 33.
13.
Patrick, you said something in an article that I read that you predicted before this tournament that Nadal would win the title, and then you made some longer range predictions about next year in Rafa.
Well, I mean, this to me is the best he's looked on hard courts. I mean, I know he's won this title 3 times before. Looked awfully good then. So look at this. Come on. Hello. Showtime now.
Yep. The result basically been decided, but Rafa gives us one more highlight.
I guess he just answered why people stuck around. I mean,
true. The 360 whipped forehand winner.
It's just a tomahawk.
I like that one. Here's stalking around, pumped up, finishing exactly the way he wants to send himself into the final, John.
You gotta love it. There's just no two ways about it. Astounding, the energy, the effort he brings to a court each and every time he plays.
It's amazing when you think, too, that he just got manhandled in that Australian Open final. He hadn't played that much leading up to that. Took pretty much to fall off last year. And since then, he goes back on the clay. A little bit of a slow start for him there. Then dominates, wins the French again. As dominant as ever on that surface. Good run at Wimbledon to the semis. Loses to Federer in 4. Awesome up in Canada to win that title. And that's why I say, Chris, you know, there's no telling what he can do in the next couple of years. Obviously, Djokovic is going to be right there with him.
You imagine that Federer could end up 3rd? I mean, I guess we can.
You just made the Fed fans throw up in their mouth, John, with that statement.
I apologize.
It's a fair point.
Talk about sprinting to the finish line here. Wow. 15 of the last 20 points. This is like what he does in those practice sessions when he just goes bigger than bigger. He's doing that now in the semis of the U.S. Open with this big lead.
Encourage fans to check out a Nadal practice if you ever have a chance at any tournament.
That's the other part. The forehand is, he's hitting it as good as he had the entire event this last half hour. So that's why he's super pumped up.
Rafa's pretty sure it missed. Didn't even need to wait for the chase review. He saw the mark. Match point, Nadal. It's over. Ralph Hall smiles. He knew it caught the line, and it did.
Again, Federer.
Toughed out a tremendous first set, and then methodically wore down the resistance of a first-time Slam semifinalist. Matteo Berrettini will not remember the final set today. I remember the run they got him here. And Rafa looks ready for major number 19. Medvedev now the only one standing in his way.
That would classify as an understatement, the way he finished this one. He looked awesome. The first set took, what, an hour and 15. The last two, an hour and 20. So this was one-way traffic, as expected. That first set was everything for Berrettini with the 2 set points. He had a shot. He fought hard for a while, but he just ran out of gas and belief after that second, certainly.
90% first serve points won for Nadal in this one. Lost just 4 points on his first serve. Backed up the second serve as well, and just another vintage display.
And goes into the final off a tremendous third set. If he can avoid early nerves, it's a pretty daunting assignment for Medvedev, as well as he has played this summer.
If you were going to choose between who has a more daunting assignment in terms of nerves, I'm going to go with Medvedev having the tougher time being calm in his first U.S. Open, first Grand Slam final.
Berrettini will get a big roar. Well, this summer he's made a name for himself at Wimbledon, and then even in a bigger way here. You guys both think destined for the top 5. He can work on a couple things.
He could have in the top 5. He's got to improve to get there. It certainly is going to happen in the top 10, but he's got to keep working at his game. But a lot of upside for him.
Yeah, he's learning some lessons. Did much better today than he did against Federer at Wimbledon, when he felt he just couldn't breathe at all out there.
Well, he acquitted himself remarkably well and was right in there in the first set, had his chances. Nadal stepped it up like he does when he had to in that tiebreak.
You think his number 1 regret is that missed drop shot in the tiebreak?
That would be high on the list, yeah.
So Rafa will battle for his 4th title in New York on Sunday. And let's get his reaction now with Tom Rinaldi.
Rafa, 3rd major final this year, 5th U.S. Open final, 27th major final of your career. What are you most pleased with tonight?
Well, thank you very much, Tom. I think first set have been a little bit frustrating because I had a lot of break points, I think, before the tiebreak, and you don't want to be in a tiebreak against a player like Matteo after having a lot of break points for you, and he doesn't have no one. So in the tiebreak, I was a little bit lucky, because with 5-2 and 4-0, the thing had been for him almost 100%, but I survived at that moment, and then I think I started to, finally I had a break after a lot of chances in the second, and after that the match completely changed. I think I started to play with more calm, playing a little bit more aggressive, and I'm super happy to be back in the final of the US Open.
There was a lot of talk about your competitive fight and spirit heading into this match, down 4-0 in the tiebreak, ultimately having to save a couple of set points. What do you tell yourself? What's going through your mind in those moments, Rafa?
Well, I just tried to stay focused on the next point, because you see 4-0, you see things very far, but my goal was to win that point with my serve, 4-1, and then try to win at least one of the next 2 points on the return, because then if you are able to keep winning the next 2, you are 5-4, so the pressure stays in his side. So I don't know, sometimes works, sometimes not works. Today I was lucky to win that first set. And yeah, I don't want to forget to say congrats to Matteo. He's young, he has everything, and he will become a great player. He already is one of the best players of the world. He has a great future in front, so all the very best for him and all his team.
And now in the final, you get another young, great player who's had a spectacular summer. He's lost one final, and that was to you. When you think about Daniil Medvedev, what's the challenge?
Well, he's one of the more solid players on tour. No, he's making steps forward every single week, having an amazing summer, winning Cincinnati, playing the final in Montreal, Washington, and now the final here. No? So, you know, he's the player that is playing better today on tour during this summer, so will be the toughest opponent in that final. So I need to be playing at my best. As always, in a Grand Slam final, you can't expect an easy opponent, so you need to play your best in a final of the US Open, and you know, that for me means a lot to be back where I am today after some tough moments at the beginning of the season. So just can say thank you very, very much, everybody, for the support. Have been amazing during the both weeks, and I hope to see you on Sunday.
Finally, Rafa, we're going to see Serena 20 years after she won her first title out here playing tomorrow. For you, 14 years after winning your first major, you're in a final. What's the secret? What sustains you?
I don't know. Secret is probably just the passion and love for what you are doing. You know, it's impossible to have a successful and very long career if you really don't love what you do. And I think Serena, of course, is amazing what she's doing. All the very best for her. I think she deserves, after all the things that she's fighting, she's facing, to be back and win again here will be amazing for her. All the very best of luck for her. And for me personally, you know, it's just another chance on Sunday, no? And I want to enjoy the day of tomorrow, try to have a good practice, and just tomorrow, Sunday is the day to play my best.
Through to the final, Rafael Nadal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
It'll be his 27th major final, 4 less than Federer. Tom framed it so well. Serena and then Rafa, back-to-back in the weekend. You can put Federer in there, not just the most gifted, but the most passionate for the longest time about their job. We're lucky to be able to be in this era.
Love and effort, you know, and that gets you a long way. I mean, the talent's not hurting, though. You're talking about unbelievably talented, all-time talent. So, but you need to back that up, and they back it up with that passion and the effort.
Well, the talent, obviously, but to do it decade after decade now, that's where the love comes in.
Chris, don't ask for the ball to be hit here. We got to move out of the way.
We'll let the fans have all 3 souvenirs. I think he should quit while he's ahead. It's really hard to do what he did the other day here.
Something tells me he's feeling it. Feeling that forehand in that third set. And
he's thinking about it.
Yeah, give it to the fans.
Head fake. They did the right thing. Yeah. The upper deck where they stuck around and enjoyed his performance to the end almost as much as he did.
Yeah, he's enjoying it out there. He's looking forward to, as we all are, to Sunday. And I think Medvedev will come and he'll be ready. He'll have a different game plan on Sunday. He'll need it.
Will he be able to bring the belief that is so necessary to sustain it too? We'll see.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping he will. So it'll be a whole lot more interesting if he does, and I think he will.
Berrettini came out swinging, using the firepower. That airtight opening set, just couldn't pull it out. And then, as Nadal just said, it was all downhill from there. Rafa, 7-6, 6-4, 6-1, on his way to the championship match on Sunday.
When you look into my eyes, you know you're gonna see that fire. If you're standing